Hey everybody, CatsCamper.com here. I'm going to start working on installing the MaxxFan Deluxe. This is the model. Let's see, we'll let that focus for you. Model 6200K. So there's a picture of it there. This is the one, even though they show it on the box, they pretty much use a universal box, I guess, for everything. But it does not come with the remote control, or is it able to be added. I'll show you right here. These are the different models and what you can put on them. And so the 62K smoke color, 10-speed fan, manual lid opening, has controls at the ceiling, and let's see, manual controls at the ceiling, has a thermostat, built-in rain shield, and you can run it in or out. So I have a vent on our FR3 here with no fan, so I'd like to put a fan in, and it would be nice being able to vent and either vent or bring air in, or I guess that's the same thing, vent or exhaust the air is what I'm trying to say. And so that's our plan. And the other nice thing about this one, since we're in an RV and not a camper, a trailer, you can drive with this vent open, and also you can kind of see from the design, and I'll show you actual videos when I get on the roof. You can see you can have it open during the rain also. But my wife smokes, and so when we're driving or when we're sitting in the morning having coffee, kind of pull all that smoke out of the camper. And but also we can use it to get air to move in and out of the camper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this collar right here, and it's just held in. I've had it out a number of times investigating before I made my purchase. I just have to take out these 4 screws. So I'm going to do that. I won't make you watch though, but I will try and show you step by step how this goes. Alright, so I removed that cover, and luckily I didn't film it because when I took the last screw out, the darn piece of plastic fell and hit me in the head. Let me show you what it looks like. So it's just simply that little sleeve that slides in there. Take the 4 screws out, and it whacked me right in the head. Nobody will laugh harder than my wife, but thankfully it's not videotaped. So I told you I had taken it out before. That's because I was wondering if I had this electricity. So mine is pre-wired. You can see a dark, which I should be the negative, and the white, which would be the positive. I will check that out and make sure it's DC power before I hook up to it. And I probably should have checked all that before I ordered the fan, but I'm going to put it in no matter what. If I find out that that's AC power for some reason, which the only thing in the ceiling that's AC power is the AC, what I'll do is I'll run my wire over this side along up under the ceiling there. I'll drop it down behind the TV, and I'll hook it into back in that corner under by that green dot is a 12-volt outlet that we'll probably never use, but it's rated at 20 amps, so I could tie into to that outlet. But I'm really hoping that they looped that there for a 12-volt supply. It only makes sense, but we'll find out. Okay, so what I did was I took 2 straight pins and I stuck them through the insulation of the wires, and hopefully they have both made contact. The white one looks a little funky, and then I have my multimeter sitting in the freezer door since I need 3 hands to do this. I'm just going to check it and I'll report back to you. Okay, so here's my report. Interestingly, yeah, I am getting 12. It's actually 13 volts, but I'm plugged in, so that's what's coming off the converter. 13 volts, but I would have thought that this would have been the negative and this would have been the positive. But interestingly, this is the positive and this is the negative. kind of against convention, but whatever. So it's a good thing I tested it. So with that done, that means I can go to the next phase of installation. And that is going to be, and I'll do it this way, give you guys some more shaky video. Let's just kind of set this right here for now, see if this works. The next question is, so I have the electricity I need, and here's the fan. I've had it out before, so it doesn't come quite shipped like this. It has foam and plastic around it. I will note that all my screws were loose in the box, but they were all there. So the next stage is really to take this piece. Let's see if you can see this piece like I can. Take this piece, which is the inside shroud, and there's two ways I can do it. I can, sorry, not having a cameraman, you got to make sure the hole it'll fit the hole. So holding it against this one, it looks like it will. They match up. You can't see that, but I can. This one's a lot deeper, depending on how thick your ceiling is. You know, you have to cut it according to the instructions. But what cool MaxxFan's recommendations are, let me get rid of these pins so I don't blow a fuse and tuck the wire back up. They recommend, you know, hey, see if it fits, put that in the hole. That goes in the hole just fine and dandy, so that means I don't have to trim my hole any bigger to put this in. So now the next step is then going to be to go up on the roof and take this vent and cover off. So let's go up on the roof. Okay, now I'm up on the roof. One nice thing on these FR3s, this is a fiberglass coated roof. It's not rubber. I like the fiberglass. Only thing about the fiberglass, man, if it is damp, it is slippery. When I was putting my cover on to store it for the winter, man, I was a little scared, and I'm pretty well balanced. But anyway, enough about that. So here's my vent cover, and you can see there's, I believe the word is copious amounts of oh dadgummit, the sealant. I'll come up with the word in a few minutes, that are around the base. So what I have to do is peel this stuff up to take this off. So I have a razor knife if I need it, and then you could use a putty knife, or the first thing I found is this paint tool, and it has that nice heavy-duty scraper there. So that's what I'll do, being careful not to damage the fiberglass. And if you have a rubber roof on your RV, you know, you want to be extra careful before you before you scrape off the die-core. When we get this off, then there will be screws underneath, and we'll pull those screws out, and then this should lift right out. I won't make you watch me, but I'll show you after. Alright, so sorry the lighting's not great being outside and all. I pulled off the initial amount of die-core. You can see the big pile there. It took me less than 10 minutes using my paint tool. This is nice because it's stiff. Maybe a putty knife might have been too flexible, because it took a little push to get it through. I didn't take it all off. There's still die-core here, but I imagine that goes underneath, hopefully. And so I'll have to come back and work on it anyways. But really what I wanted to get to is the screws, and so that's next. There's 28 of them. I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so I got the screws out. You can see them piled up there, 28 of them. Unfortunately I just used a screwdriver, and these of course are the square, let's see, sorry I can't even see my own screen. These are the square Robinson tips that they use on campers. So if you don't have one and you have a camper, you need one. So I got all the screws out. I took my paint tool, I started going under the edge, getting it loose, and now it's loose enough that I can get a grip on it and just lift it out. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, but I am getting my fingers sticky. Alright, now I have the old vent lifted out, and so you can see I have this die core to remove. and I'll go through and I'll scrape up as much as I can, and then I'm not sure, I'll let you know later on in the video. I'll put words across whatever solvent will help remove this, because I want this clean all the way out, because I don't want any of this old Dicor, because I sure don't want to have a leak down the road. So it's worth going through all the effort to get this Dicor off. So far I've only got 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes involved in taking the old fan out, or the old vent out rather. So this will be the time consuming part, getting this all cleaned up before we put the new one in. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll be back when I've got it all cleaned up for you. Alright, I don't know how well you can see it, but I've cleaned off all the old lap sealant, the Dicor that was around the outside. You can see the line, but that's because this is now clean versus how dirty your roof gets. So that's the original color of the roof, that tan. What I ended up doing, I had to run to the store and get, if you can read that, some naphtha. That's what the solvent is that's used in Dicor. So I'm sure the other lap sealants are similar. And with that, it came off pretty easy. I scraped the big stuff away, and then I just used a paper towel and naphtha and rubbed away. I left it like you can see here. I didn't try and get it out of the screw holes, the old screw holes, let them be filled up with any of the stuff. And you want to do a good job, you know, especially if you have an older camper. Mine's relatively new. You know, mine was pretty soft, but yours might be a hard chunk, and then when you come and put the new thing in, it might be a source of a leakage. So this is the most important part of when you're doing the installation, is the cleaning, the prep work. Skimping on the prep work always costs you in the end. The other thing I just noticed, whenever we turn on our vents, we get sawdust and stuff back in the bed. And I don't know if you can see right in there. When they build these campers, they really do a cheesy job. But you can see down in there all the sawdust. So I'm going to try and get a vacuum and clean out some of that sawdust. I'm sure it's on both sides, because every time we turn on the air conditioning uses this gap up here in the ceiling as the ducting, and so every time we turn it on, we're getting sawdust and stuff out. Well, look why. So I'm going to clean that out too before I do the final installation. My next step is to take this and you put it in here like that. That's the ring to mount the new one. Make sure you get it centered, and then I'm going to take a pencil and trace it out so that when I take it off, I know where to put the new lap sealant, the Dicor around. So I'll do that, get this thing, then put the Dicor down, put this thing down, screw it in, and then you come back and at least cover the holes. I only have one tube. I'll cover the holes, and then I'll come back and do around the edges, and if I have enough, I'll bring it all the way up. If I don't have enough, I'll get another tube and do that at a later date. Alright, let's move on to the next step. Alright, so I got the roof cleaned off, and then I took the flange part here and I centered it in there, and I took a pencil, and this is part of the instructions, I'm not that clever, and I traced out a line. You can kind of see it over here maybe. So that's the outside of the flange, and then I put my lap sealant slash Dicor down. They actually say you can use silicone, and everything else on the roof is done with Dicor. You're not looking for pretty, you're looking for a copious amount, you know, and you want to make sure there's no thin spots, like maybe, I mean that's okay right there, but other spots that were thin I put, like I'll probably put a little more right there, and make sure there's no gaps where water would get through, and then I'll put that flange on right there and screw it down with all those screws, and then the vent will set on top of that. So let me go ahead and fasten all this. Now you can see I've got it all screwed down, and I've got the lap sealant slash Dicor put around it. Less than a tube. I put as much as I could without Yeah, I don't want too much up here because you can see the other part's going to sit down. I don't want to interfere with that. But the edge of this is here, so I put a lot coming around here and a good amount around the screws. So everything looks good. And I didn't put so much that it would drip on the inside either. So now I just set the fan on top and I screw it in with the 4 screws, and then that finishes up the roof work. Alright, so there it is from the outside. I'm pretty much done out here. This is in the up position, so you can see how you could drive and or even keep it open in the rain, as the vent is up under here, so you know the rain, and then especially since ours is kind of shadowed by a front air conditioner, no problem keeping it up while you're driving. But pretty happy looking at it. So now clean up my mess up top here and go downstairs, hook up the electricity and put the trim flange in, and it'll be time to test it out. Alright, so my wife helped me get the tools down. I just quickly hooked the wires up and turned it on. Works like a charm. Here you can see the controls. Let's see, try and orient it for you. There you go. So you have your on off. It's 10 speeds, so hear it getting louder. I think that double beep means you're at the top speed, so you can hear it. It's like it's a fan. Has a decent enough air coming through. I've heard some people say there wasn't much air. There's nothing here, but you put your hand over here on the edge and there's quite a bit of air coming in. And then it has an in and out button, so you can push that, it'll stop and then go the other direction. So now I have it drawing in, and it has a auto set. That's your thermostat, so it's automatically set at 78, that says, where it would come on and off to keep it at 78, and you can adjust that. I have to read the instructions. I think you press and hold it, and then every beep is a degree, and you can bring it down to a certain number of degrees. So anyway, I just have to stow the wires. I'm going to put some electrical tape around the connections, and then tuck the wires around, because of course the camper wires are here and the fan wires are here. But I'll stow the wires and get them all tucked away, and then in case you zoom to the end, I have to trim this so that trim that so that it'll fit, but you kind of get an idea what it'll look like. And then on these manual ones, you have this knob, pushes in, it locks in place, but you pull it out and you can close it up. And you can run this as a ceiling fan. Now like that, I don't really feel any air coming through, so I don't know how good it would actually be as a ceiling fan. But I got it. I really got it to pull air out of the camper. But on a cool day, you just want a little air in. I think it'll do nice. Not too bad at full speed. And you bring it down, and it gets pretty darn quiet as you come down. Alright folks, there it is, the what do they call it, the MaxxFan Deluxe K6200 installed. When I trimmed this, I just used aviation shears, and I drew a pencil line around and slid it right in there. Everything's nice, and it's already open. I turned it on. It'll always come back on to the last speed you had it at. I have it blowing inward. I'm going to switch it back to outward because that die-core is still and there it goes. So now we have some ventilation. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the campground. CatsCamper.com.